Apple finally unveiled iOS 18, and there was a lot of new features coming to the iPhone very soon, including being able to place an application anywhere on the home screen. That's right, Apple has finally gone all out and given us the ability to place an application anywhere on your iPhone's home screen. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of new interesting features with iOS 18, but in this video, I'm gonna talk about 10 new features that Apple really didn't talk about. Some are small and some are bigger, but I think this kind of really refines iOS and just makes it an all-around excellent update for iOS 18. Let's start with number 10, and this is a really small update, a really small feature, but there's actually now a power menu built into iOS. If you remember before, the only way to shut off your phone was to hold down the power button and the up volume, and then that would bring up the power menu. Well, now Apple has finally given us the ability to pull up that power menu without holding down those two buttons. When you swipe down to go to Control Center, you'll see at the very top right is a little power icon. If you click it, it brings up slide to power off, or you can cancel, and you can easily shut off your phone, turn off your iPhone with just clicking that button. I know, it's kind of amazing that it's taken this long to get such a small feature like that, but I really appreciate Apple finally giving us that, just that little small icon there. Just swiping down from the Control Center, seeing that power button there is going to be so much easier. Number 9 is the new flashlight control. If you bring up your flashlight, you're going to see there that little animation there on the dynamic island. Before, you could just raise or lower the brightness of the flashlight, but now you can actually change the focus, how wide that light is going to be. And once again, I know it's just another small update, but it's these little details that Apple adds to the flashlight, for example, that really just separates the iPhone from other phones. It's not simply just turning on a bright light and using it as a flashlight. You have a little bit more control, which isn't a huge deal, but it's just a nice little small detail there. Number 8 is the ability to resize widgets. Once again, this is another feature that was on Android for years now, but it's finally here on iOS. If you hold down anywhere on your home screen, you're gonna see the ability now to resize widgets. You can make them wider, larger. For example, here is the weather widget, resize now, and it will just automatically create the widget there for you. We're seeing now iOS kind of copying a few of the features that were on Android for a while now. For the past few years, Apple has been giving us the ability to really customize the home screen. Now we're able to resize widgets, put them anywhere we want, put the applications anywhere you want. It's starting to look more and more like Android's customization, but not only do you have that great customization, but you also now have what makes an iPhone great, which is the simplicity if you want it. But now that brings me to number 7, and that's the ability to easily create a widget by holding down any application. When you click and hold down an application, you're gonna see a menu pop up, and you're gonna have now the ability to create a widget directly from this pop-up menu. And now it's going to turn that application into a widget. You can always go right back to it and change it back to an application if you prefer. And in the menu, you're also going to see require Face ID. Now, this is one of the new features that Apple announced with iOS 18, and it's going to give you the ability to lock down that application. So if you were going to hand this phone over to somebody to maybe, I don't know, make a phone call, but you don't want them looking at your messages or looking at your emails, you can require Face ID for each individual application right there in the menu, and they're not going to be able to access it unless they're able to unlock it with Face ID. That's actually a really great feature, and Apple talked about it at WWDC, but I thought I'd mention it now that we're kind of looking at this new updated menu when you hold down any application. Number 6 is reorganizing the settings menu. Apple has kind of streamlined the whole settings application now. Instead of seeing a bunch of applications as you scroll down the list, you're gonna see the settings that you can go into, and at the very bottom you'll see apps. So it kind of makes it easier to go into the settings that you want to go into, and if you want to go to a specific setting for an application, you have that option all the way at the bottom. And also, when you search at the top of the settings, it's going to give you now suggestions of some of the settings that you may want to change, and also a recent search. So for example, if you went into your settings and changed something specific and you can't remember what it was that you changed, you can easily go back into your recents and kind of look at what you recently changed in your settings. I just really like how Apple made the settings app easier to use. If you click any of the options, it's going to tell you on the top what this is, what it's used for, what settings you can change. So it just makes maybe someone new to iOS jump into the settings and change certain things that they want to change. Now, number 5 is the icon colors and the dark mode for certain applications, third-party applications. Now, Apple talked all about being able to change the look of your icons, the color, changing from dark mode to light mode, and how that changes your applications as well. But if we go into the menu and we start to change that, there's a few things that Apple didn't really mention, and that's third-party applications. So of course, when you click dark mode, it's going to change all of Apple's applications, all of those icons to dark mode, because Apple has already kind of made that style available. But third-party applications don't have that option. For example, you can see Gmail or YouTube there. When I click dark, nothing changes. There's still the same icon as before. And that's because it's a third-party application, and Google hasn't had maybe the time or the ability yet to give us a new icon that looks more like a dark mode icon. But when it comes to tinted, you can choose any color you want. It's going to change all the applications. You can even choose this eyedrop and select one of the colors there on your home screen. And this gives you the ability to really match those icon colors with the wallpaper that you're using. You also have an option right there, small and large. If you click large, it just makes the applications, the icons larger. It takes away the name of the application that's underneath, and you just have the icons itself. It still has the same amount of icons, but they could just be larger because there's no more name there. And of course, you have this brightness. It kind of makes the whole wallpaper a little bit darker or lighter as well. I just really like this feature because it gives iPhone users the ability to really customize their iPhone. And now we're gonna have a bunch of iPhone users with iPhones that are really customized to what they want and how they like using their phone. Number 4 is the new phone application design changes. If we go into the phone app, you're gonna see it looks very similar, but there's some small changes that I think just make a lot more sense when you're actually using this application on your iPhone. Before, when you would go into your recents, there was a little eye icon. When you click it, you were able to bring up the contact, save information, create a new contact, do things like that. And when you wanted to simply call back the number, you would just simply click the number. Well, Apple's kind of reversed it now. If you click the name or the number, it brings up the contact card. So you can share the contact, create a new contact, add to existing contact. And if you want to call that contact back, you just simply click that phone icon on the right. There's no more eye icon to bring up that contact card. It's a small change, but I think it makes much more sense. And I think more people are going to like how Apple kind of reversed things. And I think this might avoid accidental calls because it was so easy to simply call someone back by accident because you would just click the name or the phone number easily. And also, if you want to block a contact, now you have the ability to just simply bring it up there when you swipe to the right. As opposed to before, you would have to bring up the contact, scroll all the way down, and then go to block caller. Now it's just a lot simpler to navigate the phone application, block calls if you need to, call back when you want to. This just makes much more sense in my opinion. Number 3 is vocal shortcuts. So if you go into your settings, then accessibility, then you're going to scroll down to vocal shortcuts. You're going to enable that in the settings, and then you're going to create an action. For example, I have this one already set up where I say open camera and it opens my camera. So I have this action already set up, so let's test it out. Open camera. Now I will say it's not as reliable as you would like it to be. I sometimes say the same phrase and it doesn't do anything, but sometimes it works, and hopefully Apple continues to improve it and it's a lot more reliable. And I think it's a really cool feature to be able to just say a phrase and do an action on your phone. And that brings me to number 2, and that's eye tracking accessibility. Apple added eye tracking, being able to navigate your iPhone with your eyes. Go into your settings and then into accessibility. And then if you scroll down, you're gonna see an option there for eye tracking. If you enable this, it's going to have you look at these dots to set it up, and then you're able to control your iPhone with just your eyes, just by looking at it. And then you have this option there at the bottom called dwell control, which kind of allows you to click something on your screen with just your eyes because you're just focusing on something specific. and then it clicks it open. And you can even change the amount of time you're looking at something specific on your screen for it to open up. And it surprisingly works pretty well. It's able to track your eyes and know exactly what you're looking at. It's nowhere near Apple Vision Pro level eye tracking, but for an iPhone using the Face ID camera, I'm sure that's what it's using for eye tracking, it works pretty well. And honestly, this is a really nice accessibility feature. Apple's kind of using their excellent hardware inside the iPhone to give more features to people that may need something like this. And the number one hidden feature on iOS 18, or at least a feature that Apple didn't really talk about at WWDC, is the ability to reduce animations and avoid motion sickness. Now, my wife has an issue while she uses her phone in the car. She sometimes gets motion sickness. Well, Apple has added a new feature inside iOS 18 that's going to help reduce motion sickness and help reduce animations. If you're someone that kind of doesn't like too many animations or doesn't like animations at all, well, there's a setting now in iOS 18 that eliminates them completely. Go into your settings, then accessibility, then motion. And you're going to see right there at the top, it says reduce motion. If you enable that, there's no more animations. You're just gonna simply fade to the home screen when you go back home. Or if you just go into an application, it's gonna simply just fade into the application. If you go back home, there's also a prefer crossfade transitions. It's hard to really notice a huge difference. I guess it's just the way it fades. It's a crossfade as opposed to a regular fade. I'm not an expert on that, but that's what it says here in the settings. And there's also there a setting called Show Vehicle Motion Cues. It says there dots automatically appear near the edges of your iPhone screen when vehicle motion is detected, and they will follow the movement of the vehicle, and this can help with reducing motion sickness. And you can even enable this in Control Center so you can turn it off and turn it on when you want to. And I think this is going to go a long way for people that suffer with motion sickness while they're in a car or a vehicle. And even reducing the animations, that may help certain people that find it difficult using their phone because of all these animations that pop up when you're using your iPhone. Definitely a small feature, but it can be a really great help for someone that needs it. And those were 10 hidden features coming to iOS 18. There were a lot of great features announced at WWDC. iOS is fantastic. Apple is adding much more customization, many more small details to make an already great package even better. I wouldn't say it's a major update like last year's iOS 17, but I think the features that we did get were something that we've waited a long time for, and I think Apple is kind of listening, at least hopefully they're listening to what users want. I'm also testing out iPadOS 18 and macOS Sequoia, and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and my review of those new updates as well. So if you don't want to miss those videos, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.